Okay, I just had an earlier fail on Wi-Fi, so I decided to come home where I have fiber opportunity here, Wi-Fi. And the response I get on this earlier was about money. People want to talk about money. Well, I know how to talk about money. And my dad taught me how to make money. Not only himself, he recommended a book that I recommend to you. I recommend it to my kids. And guess what? It works. And it was published in 1996. So if you want to make money, you want to be a millionaire, I got some steps for you to take. And it takes a commitment. It takes a commitment to be rich. And sacrifice. You got to plan. You got to get help. You got to get recommendations. And you got to work hard, especially if you're blue collar. Because not everybody gets opportunities. So that's what I want to talk about today, is money. UPS got an opportunity to be millionaires. I'm talking about the Teamsters, what kind of decisions to make. The earlier, the younger you are, you got to get that right mindset. You got to get the right mindset to be a millionaire. So I'm just checking in to see if anybody wants to talk business. I love talking business, and I love talking about investment strategies, read a lot, watch the market a lot, watch the trends. You see what I'm saying? And you got to have the right mindset to be a millionaire. You don't have to go out and boast. You just, commit to it, teach your kids a budget, not to be frugal, just to be smart about investing. How do you start from zero? You never start from zero. Number one, you got to start thinking about it. That's where the mindset comes in. It's like athletics. If you want to be a baseball player, hockey player, whatever it is, guess what it takes? It takes support from your parents. It takes support from your teams. So what you need to do is, first thing you should do is go to the library. Go to the library and learn as much as you can. And there's a book out that I'm going to recommend that my father recommended to me in 1996. My father was already retired, but I know how wealthy he was, more or less, when he retired. He retired in 1990. And I was working all the time and investing since I was 21. So, but I got a lot of tips from my father. But the book is called Millionaire Next Door. Millionaire Next Door. Published in 1996 by a guy, let me look here, Thomas Stanley and his partner Bill Danko. So I think it's very important, It's very important that that's your start. You know your budget. You should know, you should live amongst your means. And that's basically what it is. Does anybody know who the millionaires, the most millionaires in the world are? Take a guess. There's top three. It's in the book, and I believe it because I'm one of them. Okay? Number one, millionaires are entrepreneurs. Number one. And what's it take to be an entrepreneur? It takes a lot. Number two, engineers. Why engineers? Engineers develop innovation and products. Okay? And that's where intellectual property comes in, and trademarks and so on. Protection. And number three is going to be a hard one for you to guess. Teachers. Teachers, because they have great pensions. They have a steady payment plan, okay, like professors at colleges and so on. They make a good average income, but it's forever, and they have these fantastic benefits when they retire. You see what I mean? So retirement and pensions are very, very important, but there's very few that come out. So that's why you have to retire on your own. You have to save for your own. That's why they talk about Roth IRAs. That's why they talk about IRAs. That's why they talk about SEPs. All these things. Everything is focused on retirement for the long term. And Social Security. So you have to work. You have to work. There you go, James. You know what I mean. But you know what? You're learning. You're getting that wisdom and that knowledge. And these students that are out there don't realize how much knowledge you have, you see? Okay, it's cool, James. It's cool. It's really hard to talk to people on YouTube that don't take life seriously. See, I'm at that point now in my life that I've already achieved what I wanted to achieve, so I want to pass this on. Now, I have children, but they're all very successful. They're all very successful, much better than me, which I'm happy about. And they've taken my lessons, and my lessons came from my father, plus other mentors. Edward, you want a job immediately? You can get a job as fast as you can. If that's all you're looking for, it's just some type of a pay. But when you get a job, know who you're working for. Work for a company that's got at least ethics. You see what I'm saying? Ethics. It has a good brand, that you're even proud to be working there. Make sure you got your benefits and so on. You have to dig into this. Just don't take any job because it's minimum wage or something like that. But you got to get to work so you can get your Social Security benefits, because it all counts. You know what I mean? You don't want to be out of work. You don't want to be out of work. You want to keep going because it gets you up in the morning. It gives you opportunities because you meet other people. That's through networking. You know, networking? That's cool, James. How old is your grandfather still alive, and how old was he? Is he still alive? Great. My father, I don't know if you know this, I've mentioned more than once, my father is 100. I'm 71. I got 10 brothers and sisters, and we're all alive. And we all have the same mindset about money, which is conservative. We're conservative. We save for a rainy day. We live amongst our means, but we're working every day. I have brothers that work in production. I have brothers that work in offices, and my kids are professionals because they had the education, see? But I forced them. I pushed them in education at a very young age. Yeah. Yeah, Craig, thanks. You know what I did? I was outdoors, and I got to learn how to use the Wi-Fi, and I had a lot of interference. So I basically went on AI. He says, well, why am I having this interference? And it was pretty common sense. I was by trees. I was by buildings, all that shit. So I said, okay, screw it. And I decided to come back because I'm all pumped up because I think I have some new followers that want to talk about money. Finally, somebody wants to talk about money and investment. Summer job. How old are you? Edward, how old are you? Edward Snowden. Isn't Edward? Oh, okay. Trolls are okay because I know they need jobs. I'm okay with trolls. Everybody knows that. Trolls wanted because they're going to learn something from me. And I appreciate them coming in because it helps my algorithm. 24-year-old. You're just getting into it, man. That's cool. The big deal is stay out of trouble. Trouble is no good. If you get in the system, if you get in, some crime, doing something stupid, getting caught with something stupid, getting at the wrong relationships and wrong friends, they could get you in trouble. You see what I'm saying? So that's the big thing is stay out of trouble. Okay, cool. You guys are funny, man. Who wants to talk about money, how to make money? The bottom line is you got to work. Get up in the morning and work. And if you're married, you got to let them know that you have a budget. And if they don't like your budget, you got to make changes, including your kids. When your kids get older, that's going to be a fight, man, because you're going to love these kids. You want them to have everything. But you have to understand there's a need and a want. You want to live with what the need is. And the want should be when you retire, you have enough money to live a great life. And I'd say younger, the better for Social Security and all that, because the bottom line is your health. But if you saved from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and your 50s or whatever it is, it's a beautiful thing. To me, Social Security was a bonus. It was a bonus. It was like, oh, it's free money, but you work for it. But I'm 71. At least I made it. There's a lot of people that don't even make it to 62. Cool. And you know how that humbleness comes through? It comes through you. You're the role model. And then you're going to have to tell them no, right? You're going to have to tell them no. And they'll see it. And you know when they really appreciate it? When they get older. Because they'll go, no, man, Dad was right. You see? Yes. The 401k, but then you decide what you're going to do. I don't know all the rules. That's why you need to have a tax advisor and a bank that works with you, somebody you can really trust, but somebody that's in finance and it has a license of some sort, okay? You can't go to your brother that's not, or brother-in-law or wife that's not in that business. You see, you got to get a professional. Sometimes you have to pay. Sometimes there's services through the bank if you got money. Nah, I'll go with Raiders. Did you guys watch the Hall of Fame today? I watched Antonio Gates. I was crying all the way through. He had a very unique acceptance speech. It was not documented. He just spoke from the heart. He cried through the whole thing. But it reminded me of all the people that helped me get to what I call my own Hall of Fame. You know? It's very touching when you see these guys that are humble, like you were saying, being humble. I have 3 children, and they're all in their 40s. 100,000 cash? Your own money? Don't touch it. Invest it. Damn good, right? It's right. You're only 33. Come on. But now you got to be smart. You got to compound it. There's a way you can get into a Roth. A Roth IRA is where you want to be. Okay? And you want to keep a job. Keep a job. Doesn't matter if you hate it or not, because your goal is the money, the benefits, and then you move on to the next deal. Because today's world is NFL, not for long. This is pink slip quarter. This is the quarter where people get let go, they get buyouts, they get severance pay. I got 2 family members that just got let go in the last year. And one of them got a great deal. He got severance pay, he got benefits, hospitalization and so on for a certain amount of time, and he got unemployment. And then the other contact that I have was offered a severance pay and he didn't take it because he didn't realize that 4 months later he was going to retire. You know what that is? It's pride. And when they let him go at his retirement, no party, no gifts, nothing. Not even unemployment. That's the other thing you got to think about. When you get laid off, it's not the end of the world. It's for a better chance. Make sure you get a letter. Whoever lays you off, get the letter saying you were laid off, because that's instrumental for unemployment and your next job, because then they can't condemn you for being let go. You follow me?